Do you have one of these? Can you imagine life without it? Well, you might have to if you don't follow some simple tips. We have them. And we all know how difficult parking on campus can be. Well, get ready. Looks like it's going to cost you even more one way or the other. And no, this isn't a zoo, it's a church. You'll want to see this one. All that plus more indictments in the Carolina football scandal. Carolina Week starts right now.
From the UNC School of Journalism and Mass Communication, covering Carolina in HD, this is Carolina Week.
We begin tonight with breaking news. Another indictment coming out of Hillsborough, another indictment in the ongoing UNC athletics scandal. A grand jury there continues to look into the role sports agent played in all of this. Allie Massione is covering this story for us live. Allie, what's the latest?
Thanks, Landon. I'm here in front of the Orange County Courthouse in Hillsborough, where sports agent Terry Watson was indicted this morning. Watson appeared in court this afternoon after he was released on a $50,000 bond. He's charged with 13 counts of athlete-agent inducement and 1 count of obstruction of justice. It's unclear just how much time Watson could be facing if convicted. Under the athlete-agent inducement charge, he could get 15 months probation for each count. That's 195 months, or a little more than 16 years. His charges follow former UNC tutor Jennifer Wiley Thompson's indictment last week. We can expect 3 more indictments to follow. We'll keep you updated as the story develops. Back to you, Landon.
That's Allie Massione reporting live for us from Hillsborough. The athletics scandal remains on the minds of officials here at the university. Chancellor Carol Folt, Athletic Director Bubba Cunningham, Provost Jim Dean, and members of the UNC faculty have been meeting to discuss all of that. The group is trying to figure out how to increase transparency in the admission and recruitment of athletes. Members are also looking at the academic performance rates of different Carolina sports teams. By the way, we're in the top 5 of the teams in the 10% of their sport nationally. Those sports include men's swimming, women's fencing, women's golf, gymnastics, and volleyball. And alcohol played a role in the death of David Shannon. That at least appears to be the case. The UNC student was found dead almost a year ago after falling from a piece of machinery at a concrete plant in Carborough. The autopsy was finally released this week. It says the freshman died from a blunt trauma to the head, neck, and torso. Shannon was a pledge of the Chi Phi fraternity at the time. The autopsy also indicates Shannon had a blood alcohol level of 0.22 at the time of death. That's nearly 3 times the legal limit to drive. Carborough police still think hazing may have been involved. And every minute, more than 100 smartphones are stolen in the United States. Every minute, 113 to be exact. Can you imagine trying to function without your phone these days? Reporter Frances Ralston tells us more about phone theft on campus and what you can do to avoid it.
We see these signs every day. They tell us not to leave valuables unattended, yet tons of expensive devices are reported stolen on campus each year. The item most often targeted? Smartphones. Sophomore Morgan McPherson had her iPhone stolen just last month from Lenore Dining Hall.
I was eating in Lenore Dining Hall one night with some friends. I left at the table beside our plates. Their phones were there too. Just came back, it wasn't there anymore.
McPherson's case is a classic example of what Sergeant Brian Walker of Chapel Hill Police calls opportunity crimes.
Someone leaves a cell phone sitting for a moment, turns their back or walks away, and when they come back, the cell phone's been taken.
According to UNC Department of Public Safety spokesman Randy Young, 39 cell phone larcenies were reported on campus this past year. Although that number is down from 54 larcenies reported the year before, it's still a serious issue on campus.
Gary Kay is a professor of technology and social media. He knows that the most valuable part of our phones isn't the phone itself anymore.
If I do lose my physical phone, that's not a big deal. I can replace that, but I can't replace the data as easily.
Pictures, contact information, emails, schedules. When we lose our phone, we lose personal data. So what's the #1 way to protect it?
Every student that purchases a smartphone should absolutely have their pass lock enabled. If you do that, that solves 90% of the problems, because if somebody doesn't know your passcode, they can't get into your phone.
As far as other tips for phone security, Kay suggests backing up your data regularly and having a special mark that makes your phone unique. McPherson has some advice of her own.
Make sure I always carry it with me, especially on campus. Don't leave it at any tables. Make sure it's in my pocket or in my book bag or anything like that.
Follow these tips, and chances are your smartphone will be safe and sound. In Chapel Hill, I'm Frances Ralston reporting.
The drop period ends this Monday. Many midterms have come and gone by then, and we still have a chance to decide whether to stay or get the heck out. Well, enjoy it while you can. The Board of Governors is cutting the drop period back, way back. And Janelle Davis joins me now and tells us a little bit more about the policy. Janelle, tell me how is that going to affect us as students?
It's a great question. Starting in the fall of 2014, all 17 UNC campuses will no longer permit students to drop classes 8 weeks into the semester. Instead, they'll have just 10 days. After those 10 days, they'll have a W for withdrawal on their transcript. Advocates say this policy will increase efficiency, assuring that every seat is filled and set a system-wide standard. I spoke with Executive Vice Provost Ron Strauss, who strongly opposes the policy. He fears students will take easier classes because they will no longer have the safety net of dropping a harder course. As of now, students can wait to more than halfway through the semester to drop a class. Strauss also doesn't think a system-wide approach is necessary. For example, ECU has a 5-day drop period. That's right, 5 days. UNC Charlotte and Duke have a 10-day period like the one we'll soon have. But Brown University, get this, they never note drop classes on an official transcript. So students can drop a class at any time.
So Janelle, what does that W or withdrawal mean? Like, if students are trying to apply to jobs or to grad school, what does that W on a transcript mean for them?
Well, a W will not affect a student's GPA. But if a student is going to graduate school, it will show up on their official transcript. Some think this might be a red flag in the application process. Others disagree. Truly, Landon, it's very unclear.
All right, well, thanks so much, Janelle. Appreciate that. All right, Janelle Davis joining us live on set. And as you might imagine, this policy isn't going down too well here on campus. A petition is being passed around, and there are already hundreds of signatures. We went out to ask students what they thought.
I would be fine if this addressed the need, or if this somehow fixed some issue in our school, but I don't see what this fixes. I only see how it makes life more difficult for all the students.
I feel like it's gonna either deter kids from taking more difficult classes, or people are gonna be caught unawares by the drop deadline and probably get a W or fail a class.
I was in a class that I didn't like, and I just decided to drop it today. So if that hadn't happened, then I would have been stuck in the class. So I'm glad that we have this year a longer drop period, but next year I don't know what I'm going to do.
It doesn't really affect me a whole lot because I've never really dropped a class after a week.
To be honest, I think it's incredibly disabling. I think it really is the university locking us in and not giving us as much freedom.
Here's an interesting stat on all of this. University officials tells us that 95% of classroom seats filled after 2 weeks remain filled for the rest of the semester. So what does that suggest? As the executive vice provost told us, the new policy is a solution looking for a problem. And so we've all done it, driving to campus at night, and we go to the library or wherever, and we drive into one of those parking decks or lots. We've been able to do it for free after 5. Well, as Madison Way reports, if you want to do that next year, get ready to cough up some money, one way or the other.
Catherine Fitzgerald is a senior studying photojournalism. For her, working on campus at night isn't just an option, it's a necessity. Fitzgerald usually isn't alone in the labs of Carroll Hall.
So with photojournalism, I'm usually shooting things during the day, so night's the only time when I can edit, and I don't have a lot of the programs on my own laptop that I can use.
Students come to campus at night for an assortment of reasons, and TPS spokesman Randy Young says he wants those students to get there safely.
So we don't want them parking in peripheral areas if we prioritize certain areas where the security is present, where the transit is headways are short and there's good transit or point-to-point service, and where we may even have a security presence, a live presence on site.
Young says daytime parkers subsidize the cost of on-campus nighttime parking. Currently, parking after 5 p.m. is free. The DPS is proposing 2 options, a nighttime parking pass or a student-wide fee, to help carry the burden of funding nighttime spots. The nighttime pass would be $227. This cost was ratified by the Board of Trustees, but opposed by student government, who suggested a smaller campus-wide fee instead. If that $10.40 fee is passed, the nighttime pass charge will be waived. But what about students who don't even park on campus? Students like senior Ryan O'Rourke.
$10 fee is not the biggest deal in the world, but I still feel it's not really necessary to apply that fee to everyone when not everyone uses that resource.
And even for students who rake in the benefits of night parking, paying for what was once free doesn't seem appealing.
Parking's already really expensive on campus, so I feel they already have a lot of revenue from that. So I don't understand why they would need to start charging to park after 5.
Young says Fitzgerald and the rest of the student body should know what price they'll have to pay for parking by the end of the semester. In Chapel Hill, I'm Madison Way.
Earlier this semester, there was the news about the university's faculty retention rate, that we were losing faculty to other schools thanks to budget cuts and frozen salaries. This year, 60% of faculty members being wooed by other schools left. In other years, when the times were better, that number was much, much lower. So how can we improve all of that? Vanessa Martinez reports.
Sina Gibson Davis is an associate professor at Duke. She's been teaching there for 11 years. She says she stayed for many reasons, including the benefits.
It also does offer some nice benefits that make it more difficult to leave.
Davis says one of these benefits is a college tuition grant for her children. The grant applies to professors who have been working full-time for more than 5 years. It covers 75% of full-time tuition at any accredited college or university.
UNC nor any other state schools provide such a benefit.
UNC's Executive Vice Provost Ronald Strauss says he doesn't think an education benefit like the one at Duke would help retain UNC faculty. He says there are many factors that contribute.
It's a very complicated process. It's not so simple. It's not just about money. It's not just about benefits.
In 2007, UNC's faculty proposed a similar education benefit, like Duke's, to the Board of Trustees. The proposal was for faculty and staff, but failed, mostly due to its $40 million price tag. But would such a program help retain faculty? Chair of UNC's faculty Jan Boxell said, "As a public university, we don't have funds for a program like Duke's, but it is definitely one of those benefits to look into." Davis says that's one of the reasons she has no intentions of going to a public university.
It would be particularly difficult to make the transition to a public university which may not offer some of the same benefits that Duke does.
In Durham and Chapel Hill, I'm Vanessa Martinez.
And what's this recent Tar Heel grad doing out in the real world? We'll tell you coming up.
Be sure to check out Carolina Week online at carolinaweek.org. Connect with us online by liking the Carolina Week Facebook page and following us on Twitter at Carolina Week UNC.
Live with a human for a while and you get to know a few things. Like, I know she's actually not a morning person. I know she does strange tricks for no treats. I know that water makes her howl like crazy. I even know how the floor stays so clean. She's quick. But the one thing I will never for the life of me know is how she gets so tiny and inside that box. Natalie, how do you get so tiny?
You might want to get ready to tap your toe. Our next two stories are all about music, hip-hop music. Our first story is about a new music lab. Delia D'Ambra has the story.
Professor Pierce Freeland teaches in the UNC Music Department. He's also a co-founder of one of Franklin Street's newest attractions, a community hip-hop beat-making lab underneath the post office.
It's been a community effort, but I'm excited because I think there's a need for a space like this, and it's on Franklin Street. Like, get out of here.
The Chapel Hill lab is not Freeland's first. He co-founded another beat-making lab in the Democratic Republic of Congo in 2012. His dream of returning to the Triangle area has never been far from his mind, though.
At the beginning of this process, our intention was to build something in the Chapel Hill, Raleigh-Durham area, it just so happened to pop off internationally first, and then we came back and did the community thing.
The lab will allow both college students and community members to make beats, voice tracks,
big kahunas need to cut this larger than the ruins,
and perform for one another. Mark Katz is the chairman of the music department at UNC.
This space in the community outside of campus is just the perfect extension of what we do in the Department of Music and really what UNC-Chapel Hill does as a university.
Extending services into the community is Freeland's main focus for the space.
We're working with community partners, primarily SACPO, Sacrificial Poets, Town of Chapel Hill, and the North Carolina Arts Council to work with the public school system.
And his level of excitement to see it grow?
I'd have to say 50, 11,000, 100 billion, I don't know. I'm very excited.
Reporting in Chapel Hill, I'm Delia D'Ambra.
And we have an encore to that story about one recent UNC grad who took MC Lab, a course helping you become a hip-hop performer. It's all a part of the Carolina Beatmaking Academy. That grad's now trying to make it in the business. Brittany Hendricks reports.
It's Wednesday night at Nouveau Lounge in Raleigh. And rapper Jay Swiss is about to step on stage with his No 9 to 5 group mates at the grand opening of the Main Stage Music venue as a headliner. But 4 months ago,
the likelihood of this being a perfect bracket is 1 in 140 quintillion. That means
Jay Swiss was writing them in Carroll Hall.
Since I graduated, music has been the #1 goal. Been going full force with that. Writing, helping mix and do some features here and there, and a lot of performing too. Live performances, more with live bands.
Jay Swiss, better known as Julian Caldwell, graduated from UNC in May with a bachelor's degree in journalism. And he says that after he walked across the stage in Kenan Stadium, he wasted little time getting back to work.
So I graduated on Sunday, went back to New York on Monday, released the album, was on a radio show promoting it on Tuesday.
Chasing after any dream can be scary. That's why Jay Swiss and his group mates co-designed these t-shirts back in 2012. Its purpose? To show students that it's okay to chase after their dreams, no matter how difficult they may seem.
Your ultimate goal that you're still working towards every day is, that dream, whether it's music for us or if you want to be a doctor or a teacher or a lawyer or a dancer, whatever.
Jay Swiss hopes that UNC students not only remember their names, but everything that he and No 9 to 5 stood for.
We really made a mark that I think will be felt even after we are gone, and that's something special that we don't have to be all in people's faces telling them about No 9 to 5, and they still see it happening and still represent it on a daily basis.
A message Jay Swiss hopes will leave a lasting legacy at UNC. In Raleigh, I'm Brittany Hendricks.
We see students biking to and around campus every day, but you may have noticed some different kinds of bikes in the pit this week. UNC's Bike to Uganda is raising money for Building Tomorrow, an organization that builds primary schools for underprivileged children in Uganda. Participants are invited to sign up and bike for 30 minutes on these stationary bikes, and each ride costs $5. Tank tops and t-shirts can also be purchased for $10 a piece. Other campus organizations, such as a female a cappella group, the Loreleis, are providing entertainment. Bike to Uganda hopes to raise $15,000 this year. That's a fourth of the cost of building one school. You can sign up to bike online or in the pit. And on a typical Saturday in Chapel Hill, Kenan Stadium is home to UNC football fans. But last Saturday, the Blue Zone hosted a different crowd. With resumes in hand, UNC students filled the Blue Zone for inaugural Carolina Sport Business and Fitness Expo. A number of panelists, including keynote speaker Phil Ford, gave advice to students seeking careers in the sports industry. A career fair followed with representatives from the Carolina Hurricanes, USA Baseball, and even the United States Olympic Committee. Well, from sunshine to pouring rain to cold and dreary, the weather has been all over the place this week. Meteorologist Catherine Thompson will tell us why up next.
Welcome back to Carolina Week. I'm meteorologist Catherine Thompson. We do have a lot of cloud cover across the triangle and the triad at the moment, and unfortunately that's going to be sticking with us throughout tonight and into tomorrow. As we take a look at our forecast over the next 18 hours, you can see by 8 o'clock tonight we'll be down to 58 degrees. A 60% chance of rain will linger over tonight and into tomorrow. We'll actually be increasing in rain chances as we go into tomorrow. At 8 o'clock in the morning, as you're heading off to class, 56 degrees is where we'll be at, so a little chilly but normal for fall. And by 12 o'clock, we'll be at around 60 degrees. Again, some rain showers will linger in the earlier parts of the morning, but after lunch, they will start to taper off. Now, what's causing all of this dreary weather is our coastal low, just off, of course, of the coast right now. And with low pressure systems, you get that counterclockwise flow. And that's why over the next few days, that rain will be kind of spinning back across the Piedmont for us, and that will continue again into Friday or into tomorrow. But by Friday, we'll have a lot of cloud cover, but rain will start to decrease. 53 degrees for the overnight low tonight, mostly cloudy showers later on tonight and before 11 o'clock tomorrow. 66 degrees for the high tomorrow, so again, a little bit chilly out there. Again, morning showers, but later on the rain will taper off, but it will still be cloudy, at least until the weekend comes. If you are heading off this weekend to the mountains, it is going to be a great day to do so. The NC Piedmont right now is kind of patchy at our fall color. There's still a lot of green around. But as you're heading up to the mountains, and if you're going to Boone, we have some moderate cloud cover, and the Virginia mountains actually have moderate to high fall color. I said cloud cover earlier. Fall color, and actually some of the areas in West Virginia are starting to peak in color, so absolutely beautiful. If we take a look at our extended forecast, 70% chance again tonight for some rain, 66 degrees today or tomorrow, 67 by Friday. We'll start to get up into the 70s again by the weekend, and by next week we're going to see some beautiful fall weather on the way.
So there is warm weather coming back?
Yes, there's warm weather coming back. And again, as I said, make sure you go to the mountains and get some pictures of those fall color. I'm actually going to Boone to see my brother this weekend.
Oh, are you?
Yes, he goes to App State.
All right, well, have a nice trip and enjoy those fall leaves.
Thank you, I will.
Thanks so much, Catherine.
Thank you.
This soccer player may feel at home on the field here at Carolina, but he's a long, long way from home. We have this story next.
I come from a big family. I'm the oldest of 6. To me, being the first person to go to college, it's like setting a standard, you know? My little brother is 8 years old now. I challenge his curiosity. I challenge him to dream. I have to paint a picture for him that he can look up to and live up to and possibly be better than. My name is Jaquez, and I am your dividend.
If I had asked, will I lose control on meth? Can meth really make you violent? Or if I had asked, will meth make me steal from my own family? I wouldn't be asking my brother.
Where's your money? Where is it? Give it to me! Give it!
Welcome back to Carolina Week. I'm Nicole Comparado. It was yet another rough weekend for the UNC football team. For the first time since 2007, the team is now 1-4 to start the season. Tar Heels fell to the Hokies 27-17 in Blacksburg during Virginia Tech's homecoming. UNC started backup quarterback Marquise Williams after coach Larry Fedora left a slightly injured Bryn Renner on the sidelines. Williams held his own, but despite UNC's late rally, some big mistakes cost them the game. UNC will face number 13 Miami next week in a Thursday night game at home. Renner, who is expected to start for that game, remains positive, which he says is the only way to stay away from 1-5.
We kind of put it in the past. You know, we try to play every play and you know, every snap like it's our last. And you know, from here on out, we are 1-4, and we got to keep doing that the rest of the season.
The men's soccer team is also reeling from a loss. Carolina fell to Clemson 2-1 in overtime last night. UNC drops to 0-1-5 in the ACC. The record may be less than impressive, but one player stands out on and off the field. Ali Macione reports.
When it comes to professional soccer, Europe is the place to be. But sophomore midfielder Robbie George came to America for something more.
What brought me here was actually the fact that you can both study and play soccer at the same time, which is not something offered in Europe. You either play soccer or study, and I wanted to do both.
George, an economics and sociology double major, grew up in Stockholm. He played club soccer with Harambe IF and Syrianska FC until UNC coaches discovered him through a video on a Swedish website.
Jeff, the assistant coach, came to Sweden and met my family and saw me play and everything, and then from there on, it's just history.
Although George's family hasn't traveled to America to see him play, senior Tanaz Garagani brings a little piece of home to Fetzer Field.
I have this big obnoxious Swedish flag that I actually bought in Sweden, and I love waving it and running around when he scores.
Which happens a lot, considering George leads the team and scored goals this season. George says playing away from home can be hard, but he's made another family here in the States.
They're definitely my Carolina family, all the teammates, and it just makes it a good experience to be here.
An experience that George plans to leave with a diploma in his hand and the soccer world at his feet. In Chapel Hill, I'm Allie Massione.
Catch George and the Heels take on Boston College Saturday at 7 p.m. So Landon, are you staying in town next week for the Miami football game?
I sure am. I've got my all black ready. It's Zero Dark Thursday, is that right?
Yes, that's it. Yeah, we'll see. Number 13 in the nation? Who knows?
All right, thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you.
And you won't see this guy sitting in the pew, but he'll be at church just the same. We'll tell you why after the break.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Here I come.
Take time to be a dad today.
Daddy, I'm gonna find you.
Packers. Viking. Packers. Viking.
White.
Red state. Blue state. Vegan.
Carnivore.
We come from different places.
Uptown.
Downtown.
Night owl.
Early bird.
We come to different conclusions.
Half empty.
Half full.
But when we live united, we create real, lasting change in the building blocks of life. The education, income, and health of our communities, our families,
United.
even the person next to us.
Live united.
Real change won't happen without you. So give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Sign up at liveunited.org.
Going to the chapel, and we're gonna bring Fido. Ashley Dolan finds out why people were bringing more than just their Bibles to church this weekend.
Bless their little hearts, and scales, and feathers. That was the idea during the Feast of St. Francis, as churches across the area held animal blessings. Big or small, young or old, land or sea, all animals were welcomed as owners brought out their pets to be blessed. Aaron Sanders, director of liturgy and catechumenate at St. Thomas More, says St. Francis' appreciation for all animals makes the feast a perfect day to celebrate this blessing.
Those mutual bonds of wanting to praise God together and also living together drew the animals to Francis.
And now, that sort of bond can be found between man and, of course, man's best friend. Just like Toby, whose family brought out Laura Lee Long's recently adopted puppy brother.
Our pets are part of our family, and since we go to Mass, we brought him today.
Or Olivia, a rescue dog with a rough past, but a bright future with her new owner, Brittany McCauley.
Bringing her here would be a good idea to get a blessing, since she's had such a rough go at life before.
And Coco, a dachshund puppy who captured anyone's heart within reach.
My dachshund couldn't be here today, but Coco sure wasn't gonna miss her chance to get blessed.
And she wasn't alone for this opportunity for four-legged and two-legged friends alike. These blessings were just as much for the animals as it was their owners, who got up and expressed their love for their pets.
Can't see, she can't hear, but she's one of the biggest joys in my life.
A gratitude shown for the pets and the unconditional love they give.
People have found so much joy in the companionship they get from those pets that they really want to thank God for that.
To keep them healthy and strong for many cuddles, pets, and tricks to come. In Chapel Hill and Durham, I'm Ashley Dolan.
How cute. That does it for this edition of Carolina Week. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.